In this video, I'm going to try to answer all of your graphic design questions in honor of hitting 50K subscribers. So thank you for that, and let's get into it. When was the moment you want design to be your career and not just a hobby? The hard part about being a creative is when your hobby does become your career, there is a point where you have to decide, do I want to make money off of this? Do I want this to be my sole thing? And for me, that was probably somewhere around early college. In high school, I learned graphic design a little bit. I really fell in love with it, decided to go to school. And at first, my freshman year, I don't know if a lot of people know this, I actually switched my major to business for like 2 weeks. And then I was like, fuck it. I don't care if I'm going to make less money or whatever being an artist or a designer. I want to pursue something I love. So I think at that point is when I truly decided I want graphic design to be my job, not just a hobby. Luckily, I did not have to compromise on the money side of things. You can make a lucrative career out of being a designer. How to transition from 9-to-5 job to freelance without resorting to things like Fiverr or Upwork. In the United States, I'll say I can speak on it in that because the way our economy runs and what is seen as a fair value price to be paid for something, I would say that Fiverr and Upwork starting off, not a good idea. You're almost better off doing stuff for free in a more fulfilling sense, like get stuff out of the job that's not monetarily, like learning something or making connections. How to transition into freelance without doing that? I would say use the internet, branch out. You can use content, you can create personal work, concepts and just fun design challenges and really show the type of work you want to be doing to attract new clients. It's also good to network in person, and just when you do get a job, the most important thing is to do a good job on it and make sure that you, the client, and everyone involved was satisfied. That way you can get future jobs, because most of mine these days come from referrals, emails, and just places I don't really know, because I think I've done a good job of practicing the craft and also being just a nice human to other people. So it's circulated and got me more and more jobs. But just promote yourself online, reach out to people, businesses, small businesses in your area, talk to friends, family members, people that may be interested in design work, and just always be on the hunt for new projects, even when you have current ones or are feeling comfortable. You want to search for new ones while you're already eating, not when you're starving. Did you do any internships? I actually did. So in college, I did 2 internships that were actually at the university. I worked for the newspaper, which helped me learn a lot of layout and design and InDesign as well. I worked at the school, another place, working for the office, designing posters around the school for different events and things like plays and whatnot. Then I worked another internship, a summer from school, where I worked at this place called Wine of the Month Club, doing social media graphics and designs for the overall company that sent out like wine subscription stuff. And then my most official internship was right after I graduated school. I was looking for junior design positions or internships, and I actually got a job at RDC, which was an architecture firm. And I worked there for a while doing designs for the different layouts of the site maps, social media stuff, website graphics, just overall assisting the lead graphic designer in operations of the architecture firm. And that just really taught me a lot about working in a corporate office and the real life world experience. I do recommend internships. You learn a lot, they're helpful, but do make sure that you're doing ones where you're getting paid. How did you land your first agency job? So after that internship, I got a job at Canyon Design Group, which was an entertainment agency in Hollywood. We did a lot of key art, which was like movie posters for HBO, Netflix, Paramount, a lot of these big production companies. I got that job by just applying to it on LinkedIn. They were hiring a junior art director, is what the position was called, which was basically a designer. I did a lot of masking, helping with design concepts, and just higher level big projects where I was doing the grindy small tasks. And I can't give any advice other than just I applied. I think that I did a really good job in the interview. Make sure you ask questions, show your value, and just be, charismatic and nice and respectful in the interview. Also, one thing I want to point out is I had all these concept projects and real client projects in my portfolio. And the thing that stood out the most in my portfolio to the interviewers and the lead art directors was my personal work. So stuff I was posting on Instagram, fictional posters, collages. There is a lot of value in going out there, creating your own work and just doing stuff for fun, because I think that technically got me that job. So do not undervalue doing personal work. How is the new house? Thank you. I appreciate you for asking about that. It's really cool. If you didn't know, I moved from a smaller apartment in Hollywood over to a house kind of outside the city a little bit. My partner's parents actually moved to another state, so we're able to live in their house now, and we're renting it out, and it's a lot more space than we need. So we have a roommate also that lives downstairs, and I like having all the room. It makes you feel a lot more spacious and creative, but the only downsides is we're a little bit out the city now, so there's less creative energy and just that almost like collective consciousness of the hustle and bustle of the city. But overall, I'm liking it a lot here, so thank you for asking. Advice for self-taught designers to learn the fundamentals. I would recommend just going on YouTube. You can watch some of my videos. I have some more deeper in the archives that are more fundamental based. There's a bunch of good other content on YouTube. Lots of books you could read. I'll link below in the description a video I have where I talk all about the books I recommend, and I can link that down there also. So overall, Skillshare, YouTube, books, find some designers you look up to, maybe try to ask them questions. But the fundamentals, you're just going to want to learn a lot about color theory, typography, grids, layout, just depending on what type of design you like. Those are probably some good starting points. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I always think this is a terribly hard question to answer because I don't even know like 5 years ago, I couldn't even predict what I was doing now, especially 10. I'm 25. 10 years ago, I was 15 years old. I don't even think I learned about graphic design yet. So to imagine what I'd be doing in 10 years from now is really hard, because even when I was first graduating college to now, I didn't know I was going to be doing YouTube or content or even freelancing at this point. I thought I'd be working at a studio or an agency or in-house at a company. So maybe in 10 years, I'd hope to either be past doing content, like I completely fulfilled myself in this YouTube space, and maybe I'm working as just a practicing designer at a studio or freelancing and just taking on super selectional clients, and hopefully have enough money to be more picky and just create like a cool little Avengers team of 4 or 5 designers and work on some big projects. That would be fun. Top 5 favorite album cover designs of all time. Of all time is really hard, so maybe I'll limit it to the ones I have on vinyl. I'll grab 5 and we'll see. We have this No Rules Sandy. The reason I really like this one is you can see it's like a transparent. So there's like this sleeve, and then the type is under. And it's just super clean, like Helvetica, type treatment, which I love orange. So just the overall packaging and everything around this is beautiful. Next up, we have Little Dark Age by MGMT. This one's awesome. Probably one of my all-time favorites, musically and design. Milo Goes to College. This one's a contender as well. I mean, obviously that's why I'm picking it, but I absolutely love this one, The Wide Awake by Parquet Courts. From what I know too, the lead singer does all the art for them, so even cooler. Then this one, because I love the artist and it's created by Blue Note, and it's just an overall amazing album. What Kind of Music? So the sleeve actually is the typography, and you have the design under, and this one comes with an awesome booklet of just all these cool Blue Note inspired, like Reed Miles style designs. What made you decide to start a YouTube channel? So I actually started this YouTube channel during COVID. I had just started a new freelance remote job. I had also a lot more free time on my hands, and I always wanted to do something like this. So I started with more tutorials and then branched out into freelance stuff, designing, vlogs, and just overall creativity, tried to broaden it a little bit and just still be fulfilling. But it's just always something that I thought seemed cool, and I thought that the design space was still an untapped market in the online world, and I haven't achieved everything I want to yet with it, but I think it's going decent. If you can only work in one graphic design niche, what would it be? I'm not sure about niche, but maybe like if I only had to work in one medium, probably poster design or album art. Those are like my 2 favorites and something I gravitate towards even in my personal work. Art and career bucket list items. And Struthless actually asked me this one, and shout out to him, and go check his YouTube channel out as well. Amazing creative. Art and career bucket list items. Career-wise, Something kind of vanity, I would really like the 100,000 subscribers, so 50K more, get that play button. That seems like a very rewarding thing in the internet space and just fulfilling as a creative, at least with video making. For design wise, I would love to design an album art that is pressed on vinyl that's like very popular, maybe something for record store day or an exclusive that is hyped up, and I'd love to see it in store, something like that. Also, I'd love to make a movie poster for a feature film that does like really well, but a lot of that's done through agencies, so it's kind of hard to gravitate towards that unless I want to work there again. What else? I'd also really love to collaborate with a coffee company, either with the branding, creating my own like Jesse Nyberg based brew or some kind of roast. I think that would be really fulfilling, and there's just some I could think of off the top of my head. What is a step in your design process you can't skip? So I was thinking about this actually recently, and it's almost become maybe a crutch to a certain extent, but I cannot seem to finish a design, poster, album art without wanting to print it out, get those juicy textures and scan it back in and manipulate it with the camera raw filter. I just think it makes everything feel so much more tactile and alive that I guess if I had to choose something that I rely on a lot that I can't skip, it's probably going to be printing, rescanning, and coloring that way. Which is harder, working for a company or freelance? They're a lot harder in different ways. Freelance gives you a lot more freedom, and I think overall has been more fulfilling for me because I can work the way I want, even if it's more or less than I was at a normal career, like a 9-to-5 job. But it gives you the freedom to work more or work less and take on only the things that you really want to enjoy. However, with that becomes a lot more stress. You can kind of almost never turn your brain off. There's that meme like, I quit my 9-to-5, now I work 24/7. Because you're kind of always on, and it's really hard to separate the work-life balance. That's one of the cons, so that makes it a little bit harder. But overall, I think working for a company is harder because you have to get up super early. A lot of times you have to commute. You have to listen to a boss all the time. Clients kind of become the boss in freelance. But I think for someone like me who likes to be independent and creative on my own time, working for a company was harder. For some people that like that kind of rigidness and being told what to do and having like some stuff laid out for them like that, and freelance would probably be harder. So I think it really depends on how you work, your personality, and just what you value in a job, really. How to stay disciplined. I guess this kind of goes with the last one, and I used to have a different opinion on this, like just get up, you got to do it, you always have to just finish what you got to do. But I know everyone's different, and for me at least, how I stay disciplined is I try to get up at the same time every day, regardless of if I give myself grace, about not having to get into the work right away anymore, but I like to have a routine that helps me stay disciplined. Get up, protein shake, coffee, get into my desk, settle down. What helps is not going on your phone as much throughout the day, or especially right in the morning on Do Not Disturb. The reality is the best way to be disciplined, I've said this before, is you just have to be disciplined. Like you have to think about things as absolutes rather than I'll get to them when I can, or, maybe I can work on this, maybe not. And that does work for some people. And I have been leaning a little bit more to that lately. However, if you want to get something done, set a deadline for yourself. And even if it's 80% to your satisfaction, it's better than grinding it out and working and procrastinating and waiting on something that might not even be better after all. So, just set guidelines, time management, and, just deadlines for yourself. And if you want to get something done, get it done. And if it doesn't matter to you, then it's hard to stay disciplined. That's the hardest. That's the truest thing it's easy to be disciplined when you enjoy what you're doing. How to handle if a client isn't happy with the work. This sucks, that's just something that's sometimes happens. I've had jobs where, you still get paid, and sometimes my friends will say, well, you got paid. Who cares what they think? But, it's kind of a bummer when you complete a whole project and they either don't end up using it, or you see it on launch later and they went with another designer, or when the company just fails and things outside of your control. That sucks. If the client isn't happy, I try my best to make changes where I can without exploiting myself with countless revisions and stuff. But there's no real way to handle if they're not happy. You just have to be civil about it, go both your separate ways, and be okay with, I guess, realizing that you guys weren't a fit. One thing you can do though is to stop that from happening is Have a good preliminary call process. Make sure you and the client are on the same page before any design work starts. That way, it's a lot less likely for them to be disappointed. Will you ever go back to working for an agency or company? I don't know. As of now, I don't think so. But like I said, I would love to work at like a small, tight-knit studio maybe and just focus on design bigger, larger projects at some point. Maybe a creative director, art director type position, but right now, not really. If you can go back in time, what wisdom would you give to 100 subs, Jesse? Stop worrying about what other people are doing in the space. Just because you're a designer, it doesn't have to be a tutorial exactly. Everything doesn't have to be so concretely design or software related. Learn about thumbnails and titles and don't be afraid to look corny or lean into the thumbnail world. You can be authentic to yourself and have branding, but things need to be brighter and polished. And if someone doesn't click the video, they don't watch. And as long as the video delivers and is good, it's not clickbait. Just learn a lot about YouTube, become kind of a student of that world and you'll improve. And at the end of the day, it seems like it takes about 50 to 100 videos to really dial it in and know what you're doing when it comes to editing and other things. So just practice and you'll get better. Favorite YouTube video you've made? Probably some of my recent ones, either the recent day in the life one that I think did really well, and I was pretty proud of the cinematography, especially because I shot all of it on my iPhone, or the making trading cards video. That one was really fun and rewarding as well. And the designing a movie poster for a real client. I liked showing that process, and that video I think was really fun to make. So those three, I'll link those below. All right, we got through all the questions. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really excited to continue to grow this community. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more, so maybe we can do another one like this in the next 50K. So yeah, that's it for now, and I'll see you soon. Peace.